NFTs. Unless you've been living under a rock recently, I'm sure you have heard about the hype train surrounding non-fungible tokens. But even as someone who has heard a lot about NFTs recently, I was still confused about if this is just a low-resolution piece of digital art that is selling for ridiculous amounts of money, or if this is truly going to have a practical purpose in the digital world. So, lucky for you, I spent several days learning everything that I possibly could about NFTs, and today we're going to talk about how you can actually buy and sell NFTs pretty easily, and maybe even make some money while you're at it. Alright, let's jump right into it. What is going on, everyone? I hope you are all having a fantastic day. Okay, so an NFT, or non-fungible token, is probably a phrase that you've heard a lot about, but what the heck is this? Well, the term fungible essentially is in reference to the ability of a good or asset to be interchangeable with another good or asset. So, for example, cash or another kind of currency, including cryptocurrencies, is extremely fungible because I can give you 20 bucks in cash, you can give me 20 bucks in cash, and that is really easily interchangeable. Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies are also fungible because, again, they can be easily replaced, and many things in our daily lives, like commodities, would also be considered fungible because they aren't scarce or unique in nature. So with that in mind, the term non-fungible means that this good or asset cannot be substituted easily for another asset, and that would be things like artwork, memorabilia, or in the case of today's conversation, an NFT. Now, I don't know about you, but for me, when I hear the term NFT, or at least when I heard it a few days ago before doing all this research, I literally just thought of those low-resolution CryptoPunks and other artwork online that is selling for hundreds of thousands and in some cases, millions of dollars. And I think most of us would agree that that's a little bit ridiculous. But the term token, which is the T in NFT, is where things start to get a little bit interesting and where it all starts to actually make some sense. So the term token simply refers to the digital certificate that is stored on the blockchain, just like your favorite cryptocurrency is. So if you are an artist and you take a piece of artwork or maybe even a song and you mint that on the blockchain, then it is now referred to as a token. And that's how people have listed things like CryptoPunk 3100, which sold for over $7.6 million, CryptoPunk 7523, which sold for nearly $12 million, and of course, Beeple's infamous 5,000 days of digital artwork, which sold for nearly $70 million. So we'll talk about how exactly to list your own NFTs and even buy and sell some existing NFTs in a second, but I feel we should first address the very common question that everyone seems to be wondering is what is to stop someone from just taking a screenshot of this digital asset? And the simple answer is absolutely nothing. Now, I am not here to argue the value of digital art because honestly that's a whole separate video in itself, but the token example that is given in this conversation is what if you took a picture of the Mona Lisa? Or maybe you could even go out and buy a really accurate replica of that priceless painting for a fairly low price. Well, yes, you could do that, and maybe you could even hang it on your wall, and you would probably get the same amount of enjoyment out of that. But despite all of this, that still isn't the Mona Lisa. And NFTs, and specifically digital artwork, is really the exact same thing, and it all comes down to verifiable ownership, the collectability of that asset, and perhaps most importantly, the social status that comes with owning that particular asset and having proof of ownership. And that is exactly the reason why people are buying these low-resolution pieces of digital art and making them their profile pictures on social media, because in a sense, it is now a status symbol. It's honestly the same reason why people go out and buy name brands when honestly the generic product probably has the exact same utility, but the name brand itself, like Gucci or Louis Vuitton, is a status symbol in itself. So with all of that being said, I'll wrap this part of the video up by saying that I personally think that 99% of the digital artwork stuff that is out there that is selling for ridiculous amounts of money will probably be completely worthless once this hype train starts to die down. But there is some really cool digital artwork out there currently, and really it's the principle behind this that I love that could open up a whole new world of digital assets. Okay, but putting that whole thing aside, how do you actually go about buying an NFT, selling an NFT, and maybe even minting and selling your own pieces of digital artwork? Well, there are a million different ways to go about this, but by far the most popular marketplace for buying and selling NFTs currently is a website called OpenSea.io. This one website allows you to explore the latest trends in the NFT market and even connect your own crypto wallet and start buying and selling NFTs pretty easily. So if we navigate to the OpenSea website and click on the Explore tab in the top right-hand corner of the screen, you'll see a ton of NFTs and other digital artwork that you can get started by by buying and selling immediately. You can even go to the Stats tab and see which NFTs are currently having the highest volume and are the most popular, and of course are selling for the highest prices. But the most interesting tab, and the reason that you probably clicked on this video, is the Create tab. Here you can link your Ethereum wallet with a number of crypto exchange options, and from there it is really easily to upload your digital artwork and list it for sale. Now, I am personally no artist, so we're just going to avoid that process, but if we go back to the Explore tab, I'm going to click on a piece of artwork that I think is pretty cool looking, and you'll be brought to this page where you can either buy it now or make an offer on this NFT, or depending on how the seller has this listing set up, there may also be the auction style format where you can actually place a bid on that digital asset. Now, all of the listings on this site are in Ethereum, but they do give you the conversion into US dollars, but again, that's why you need to connect your Ethereum wallet in order to not only list your own NFTs, but also to buy and sell existing NFTs. Okay, so the process and steps involved in buying and selling them is pretty straightforward and easy to understand, but how do you actually go about finding ones that will appreciate in value, and can you realistically be making money by buying and selling these digital assets? Is it possible? Absolutely. Is it realistic that you're going to become the next NFT millionaire? Probably not. That being said, let's try it anyways. So, one website that I would highly recommend you check out is called rarity.tools, and this site is going to give you a glimpse into the latest trends in the NFT space, help you identify projects that are trending and have strong communities, which is incredibly important in crypto in general, and hopefully help you buy or mint an NFT early enough that you can eventually turn a profit on that asset. So definitely check out the rarity.tools website, and then once you find a project that you believe in, you can go back to the OpenSea.io website, find the NFT, and go ahead and make your first purchase. So as you can probably tell, the complement of tools that have been built to support the NFT marketplace and digital artwork are pretty intuitive and easy to learn, and the process of buying and selling and even minting your own NFTs is pretty straightforward. However, there are a few things that I feel I should mention that you definitely want to keep in mind before you go dumping your life savings into a digital asset or a CryptoPunk. First of all, this probably goes without saying, but this is an incredibly volatile investment, if you can even call it that, because it is based on the Ethereum network, and therefore prices fluctuate just based on the price of Ethereum alone. But also, the price of a particular asset can even fluctuate in itself, so then in a sense, you're having double the volatility. Another thing to keep in mind is that these NFTs are not as liquid as other forms of crypto investing. For example, if you own one Bitcoin, well, you can pretty easily sell that and liquidate your position fairly quickly. But when it comes to NFTs, and specifically digital art and other digital assets, it really is not that simple, and you actually have to find a buyer to purchase that asset from you. Now, depending on what NFT you own, it might be pretty easy to find a buyer, but just like selling a car or a house or some other kind of non-liquid asset, it does not necessarily mean that you're able to just offload that really quickly, and in order to actually turn that NFT into a liquid currency, you will have to spend some time finding a buyer. And the last thing that I will mention is that, at least for the time being, buying and selling NFTs is really expensive, and that alone can make it incredibly difficult to actually turn a profit. Now, these fees are twofold in most situations, but the first and most commonly known fee is known as a gas fee, and this is literally a fee that goes towards covering the energy required in order to process and validate your transaction. I know that sounds incredibly confusing, and honestly, that gets a little bit more complex with the blockchain that I personally care to get, but even if you're only spending a few $100s on an NFT, you could easily spend more in gas fees than what you actually pay for that digital asset. Plus, exchanges like OpenSea are going to charge fees themselves, so just keep that in mind when you make a purchase, and at least for the time being until Ethereum 2.0 comes out, these fees are going to remain very high, and in some cases, you would need to more than double your initial investment in order to just break even on that particular transaction. So, I know the NFT space can seem really weird and confusing, and if you're like me, then you may even have a fear of missing out. But hopefully this shows you that it is actually not that hard to get started buying and selling NFTs and even listing your own digital assets for sale. But as always, use caution with this, and remember that if it was super easy to become a multi-millionaire overnight just by buying low-resolution artwork, then everyone would probably be doing that. I'll again say that I believe in the principle behind digital assets, and I think that there is a ton of value in that going forward, especially with Ethereum's ability ability to handle smart contracts and other really awesome crypto projects that have been started recently. But personally, I don't get the hype behind the multi-million-dollar pieces of digital art that honestly I could have made on my own. But just like the physical art in the physical world, the value of digital art is very subjective, and I'm not going to fault someone for making a ton of money by selling their digital artwork online. So I would love to know what you think of the NFT space down in the comment section below, and what your favorite digital asset currently is. As always, if you did get value out of this content and you want to help support me, the easiest way to do that is actually by checking out some of my favorite financial tools down in the description below, including one offer from the Point Cashback Debit Card that will currently give you $100 when you open your account and make your first purchase, so definitely check that out using the link down in the description. Be sure to hit the like button and subscribe to the channel for more content like this in the future, and of course, thank you so much for your time. I really do appreciate it so much. Take it easy, and I'll see you in the next one.